Joining me now to discuss this and the larger issue is Ma'in Rashid Arakat. He's the Palestinian representative to the United States. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. So I know you do not represent Hamas. You represent the PLO. But seeing that video, do you understand or even support Israel's mission to say they need to destroy these tunnels?
Well, I'll tell you something. I mean, this is not the issue of tunnels here, Jake. It's much more complicated than that. It didn't start with the tunnels.
I get that.
These tunnels were used for different purposes.
Well, the ones from Egypt to Gaza were used for smuggling in goods and services, but the ones from Gaza to Israel, as a Hamas representative told me the other day, are for military operations.
These tunnels were not built yesterday. They've been built some time ago.
Right.
And over the last 2 years, during the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, that Israel breached 226 times since November 2012 until July 2014. 226 times, killed 26 Palestinians. Hamas never used these tunnels to attack Israel.
I take your point, but does Israel not have a right to destroy these tunnels? Can you understand why any nation would want to destroy those tunnels?
And the same thing, the Palestinians have the right to defend themselves. Hamas and Palestinian factions utilized these tunnels when Israel invaded the Gaza Strip, started their air campaign, killed 1,432 Palestinians so far. So every nation, every people has the right to defend themselves.
But if we're trying to seek a way out of this, all right, all this death, most of it on the Palestinian side, wouldn't agreeing to shut down these tunnels be a good start?
Well, it will be if Israel also promises not to continue its aggression against the Palestinians. I mean, look at the numbers, Jake. I mean, number and scenes and videos and pictures that are coming to you speak for themselves.
I understand, but the Israelis, you know, they would argue it's not a question of numbers. This is what they argue. It's not a question of numbers. It's a question of intent. And certainly Hamas has tried to kill as many Israelis as the Israelis have succeeded in killing in Gaza. I'm not saying any of it's any good. But if it's not for the lack of trying by Hamas.
You know, when I listen to people describing Palestinian faction as being terrorists and they have terrorist intentions, and I look at the number of civilian kills here, I ask myself, who is the terrorist in this confrontation, in this conflict? The one who killed 1,432, 80% of them civilians, or Hamas, which killed only 57 Israeli soldiers and 1 Israeli civilian?
With all due respect, that's because they're not very good. Well, they're certainly trying to kill more Israelis.
This is not the case. They killed most of these Israeli soldiers when they went into the Gaza Strip.
Right.
So they were invading troops going into Palestinian territory. But now this issue is being magnified here. I think you are completely ignoring that this conflict did not start on July 7th.
I'm not ignoring it, and I understand the issue of the occupation, as Palestinians refer to it, and I'm not saying that should be even tabled. But let's talk about trying to end the conflict right now so that the innocent Palestinians, the children, are not killed. Wasn't it a mistake by Hamas a few days ago to reject the Palestinian Liberation Organization and the PA's larger ceasefire proposal?
Well, the PLO said at the time that the announcement was made prematurely without finishing the deliberations with Hamas. Let me tell you how this can get ended, Jake. We need to get to a ceasefire, you know, whatever you want to call it, a lull, a truce, to allow for humanitarian rescue teams to go into the Gaza. The situation is so dire. Medicine is you know, there's a shortage of medicine, no clean water,
no electricity.
No electricity.
That's why I don't understand why there isn't an agreement to a ceasefire.
You need to take advantage of that temporary truce to engage the two sides with the help of Egypt and other international players.
Hamas rejected the Egyptian ceasefire proposal, sir.
I understand. Hamas rejected because the ceasefire did not include a political solution to the conflict. This conflict is the result of the Israeli blockade that has been imposed on the Gaza Strip for 7 years. People are in an open-air prison. They cannot even leave the Gaza Strip. There is a political problem there. Once this period is achieved, the two parties will meet with the help with the Egyptians and other international players. They will discuss the details of a longer-term arrangement that will allow for a quiet and peace to prevail on the borders.